So I'm Nellie Levine. I serve on the program committee for AFP St. Louis. And today I am with Martin Leifeld, who is going to be our presenter at our luncheon today. We're just going to ask Martin a couple quick questions before we get going today. So Martin, will you tell us your full name, your title, and something about the institution that we're both fortunate to support?
Sure. First of all, it's a pleasure to be able to do this and to have it recorded. Martin Leifeld is my name. I'm Vice Chancellor for University Advancement at the University of Missouri St. Louis. I'm completing my 7th year there, and it's been such a privilege to work at this outstanding institution here in St. Louis. When I think about a unique attribute of the University of Missouri St. Louis, we're an urban land-grant institution, and 4 in 10 of our undergraduate students are first generation. I mean, that's surprising, and it actually is shocking, I think, when you think that, really? There's that many families here in the St. Louis region where there's yet to be a member graduate from college, but in fact, that's still the case here in St. Louis. We have a long, long ways to go to educate St. Louis, and we know that the more college degrees that are acquired, the more prosperity comes to a region. So that, of course, that's what excites me working at a university as meaningful as UMSL, that we get to bring these 4 in 10 along and change literally the trajectory of their lives.
That already makes me feel more excited about my own job. So, Martin, you have 40 years of experience in the nonprofit world, so many years of leadership experience. You've learned countless lessons and overcome so many challenges along the way. In just a word or a couple of words, how do you describe your motto for how you've achieved this kind of success?
So when I was a young person, my mother said to me many times, Martin, pray for patience and perseverance. And I react immediately, impatiently. Why do you say that to me? I want this now, I want that now. Why do I have to wait? Martin, pray for patience and perseverance. Little did I know as an 8, 10, 12-year-old how profound my mother was. Because I turned 60 recently, Nellie, and when I think about my 60 years of life, so much of it has required patience and perseverance. And certainly in my professional life, nothing comes as quickly as we want it. Success comes over time. We become masters at what we do only through experience, and experience can only be acquired through time. So my mother's counsel to me, pray for patience and perseverance, is perhaps the wisest words I've ever heard. And certainly when I think back on my 60 years of life that I've been privileged to have, that has stood me well, and I thought of it many, many times.
That's really wonderful motto. So the topic today that you'll be going to detail about is closing gifts by instilling urgency through donor-centric fundraising, which is just a really interesting topic. And I wondered what you think that the biggest takeaways for the audience should be today and for those who weren't able to be with us today.
Sure, Nellie. Well, first of all, I would say I think takeaways are unique to each individual, depending on where they are in their career, who they're working for, what they're facing this very day, right? That they're leaving from and they're going to return to here shortly after our luncheon. But when I think about, well, what are 3 obvious takeaways I hope people take away? The first would be that urgency begins with us. Urgency needs to come from within us, of those who represent these outstanding organizations in this community. We need to have a certain urgency, and that comes with our own self-understanding, defining who we are, what we're about, why we're doing the jobs that we are doing, and what we want to accomplish by virtue of being in these privileged positions. So urgency begins with us. I think secondly, we have a responsibility. So urgency, the second word I guess would be responsibility. We have a responsibility to close gifts. I think so often for fundraisers, it's hard to close gifts because, people will say, yes, I want to do something, I want to support your organization, but going from that verbal willingness to give a gift to actually, in fact, give the gift, or at least, give a document that represents that gift in writing, that can be very, very challenging for fundraisers. And for those of us less experienced, it can be doubly daunting, I think, because, we oftentimes are intimidated by these great donors we get to engage with. But we have a responsibility, no matter how we feel as fundraisers, any given moment, to raise that money and secure those gifts, and be tenacious, be determined, be relentless about it. And we'll enjoy great success because of this as fundraisers. But most importantly, our donors are going to have outstanding experiences of being a part of our world, our organizations, and our organizations are going to directly benefit, and those we care for through our organizations, by the generosity of those donors. That's pretty exciting, isn't it, Nellie?
Great. That's really great. That's a wonderful takeaway. I look forward to hearing more.
Excuse me. Oh. I think you asked for 3.
I did ask for 3.
Sorry about that. The third, I guess, would be the opportunities in the St. Louis region to raise funds, and with those funds to accomplish good, are limitless. The opportunities are limitless. Sometimes I think we think, well, everybody else is going to the same person, the same organization for funds. What can we expect? Well, we can expect something, but let's go raise funds from all those who aren't being approached, right? It's limitless in St. Louis. 4.1% of disposable income of St. Louisans goes to the works of philanthropy. Just think if we took it up to 5.1, that's another $350 million available for philanthropy in this community. Let's go and get it as fundraisers. That's our charge.
That's fantastic. So I have just one more question. So I represent the University of Missouri St. Louis, and I also represent AFP St. Louis. And AFP tries to be a leader in fundraising education. And I just wanted to hear a little bit about what you think about professional and continuing education and its importance to you.
Right. Well, first of all, I think AFP does a brilliant job of doing ongoing education for the fundraising community, and those elements like marketing communications associated with fundraising. I think there'd be a huge hole in the community without the AFP. And I'm also proud to say that the AFP of St. Louis is just an amazing chapter and recognized nationally for the great work that it does. So I applaud our AFP group here in St. Louis. Without question, we should all be committed to lifelong learning. And that is certainly professionally, to get credentials, to read the latest books, the latest articles that are available, to stay current, to think about them, to talk shop with our colleagues and with those belonging to the AFP who comes to meetings like this. We have to be committed to it, and the AFP then fills that role by providing and disseminating important information in an ongoing way that people can benefit from. But I think it begins with our having a commitment to be lifelong learners. Now, we should be learning things beyond our profession too, right? A good fundraiser, their middle name is curious. A curious fundraiser is curious about lots of things. What a donor is involved in, but other areas of interest, and whether they pursue degrees or they love to read biographies of American presidents, whatever it might be, they should be committed to learning in an ongoing way.
Thank you so much. It's inspiring to hear you now, and I'm looking forward to the rest of your presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nell.